Guys, welcome everybody, first of all, and thank you for joining in today. So, this week has been quite amazing for all of us here at TubeMap because we've had, uh, these little chats, dates as we call them, with different women. And most of them, and in fact, all of them, so this is the fifth episode in this series, fifth and the last episode in this series. The whole idea behind curating this series was really to see how people have been choosing to challenge things within them, choose to challenge what's the International Women's Day uh, theme for this year. So today, and in all these sessions that we've had, Choose for Challenge has taken a different shape. It's taken a different meaning, and it was all about how do we conquer those little demons within us that stop us from achieving our greatness. And we've given a different spin. So right from rewriting your stories to looking at the way you're showing up in your life, showing up in on this particular planet by adopting sustainable practices to actually challenging the status quo and building in resilience on Wednesday. Yesterday, we had a yoga teacher who actually spoke about, how do you challenge your mindsets? How do you challenge the way you eat, the way you breathe, the way you show up in the world? And today we have Radhika here. So Radhika, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. It's a pleasure because uh, today we are going to look at choosing to challenge from a different perspective, from a different lens altogether. So, as a quick introduction, Radhika is actually a content curator. I've been following her on LinkedIn since last one and a half years now. And what I love about what she writes on LinkedIn is the way she weaves in stories. So we hear news in the media, but she talks about the stories behind those news items, and she talks about those little unknown facts, those little tidbits behind how businesses run, how the brand is built, which is so mind blowing, which is so interesting to read. Short posts, but it does gather a lot of traction on the social media because I've seen a lot of venture capitalists, a lot of entrepreneurs actually reading her content. And the beauty is the simplicity. It's a simple story, but it talks loads about what's happening in that space, which is always so interesting. So Radhika actually passed out of Narsi Monji Institute last year. She did her graduation in management studies, and she's been a senior editor with this mouthpiece called The Representative, and she's also a podcaster. So it's all about content, and therefore we thought maybe it's a good idea for us to actually chat with her and understand this demon. A lot of us think LinkedIn is a demon. Your post would get lost some days. Sometimes you don't know what to post on LinkedIn. I feel that so many times, that what do I post on LinkedIn, how do I show up on LinkedIn? And we thought no better than Radhika to learn these little skills today. So welcome, Radhika, and thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you to you for such a lovely introduction. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to talk about myself in such a nicer way that you did. So, thanks for introducing me. And you have already done my job halfway by telling a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
So, thanks for making my job easier. And yeah, let me know what questions y'all have, and I'll be happy to
Sure.
answer them.
So I will lead the session by asking you questions, but everybody in the audience, we also have some audience on YouTube. So whoever has a question, just feel free to ping here and say that, okay, I have a question. Just raise a hand, raise a virtual hand, and say, we have a question. And feel free to ask Radhika. It's going to be a super informal session per se. Right. So, Radhika, my first question really is that how did you start this whole journey of being on LinkedIn? Why did you choose this platform to express yourself?
So actually, the journey goes back to the time wherein I was a part of my entrepreneurship cell of the college, and it was mandatory for all of us to have an account on LinkedIn because we usually used to contact sponsors and various other investors to sponsor our event. So it was just out of a need that I planned my account. But I never knew that I would be on this path on LinkedIn, that I would be writing posts on a daily basis had it not been a friend of mine who inspired me to do so. So, for 6 months that I was on LinkedIn, that's when I had joined. That's back in 2017. I didn't know activity, just was absolutely inclined towards getting that tag of 500 plus connections on my profile, just was inclined towards making my profile a 5-star profile. So did that. After that, I started writing. My first post, as I've written in one of my posts also, has only gotten 3 likes because it was more on the philosophical lines that most of the people find it boring to read. So rather than me choosing LinkedIn, I would say LinkedIn chose me because I was just being on the I was just exploring the platform. I used to comment on other people's posts, and that's how people also started recognizing my name, my presence on LinkedIn. So it all started with that, and after that, I realized this one thing, that you can't just be writing things that you would like to, but you also need to consider your audience's perspectives in mind before crafting a post, because you are putting it up there in the social media market, which is watched by many eyeballs. So that's when I started writing on various business models. Again, I was also a part of the representative. I joined them in 2019. That's when I developed my interest of reading news and studying different business models. And actually, I never had this interest by myself. It's all been my peer group who's always been so supportive. And I feel that you need to have a charged up peer group in your early years if you need to, travel the smarter path. And that's what made me also research on such esoteric topics. I started writing on LinkedIn, and I saw traction coming in for my news articles that I used to present in a very crisp and a simpler manner. Post that, I saw that my audience is really liking these articles, so why don't I do more of it? So I chose my niche. I started doing more and more of less and less. And as I really believe in this fact that do ordinary things extraordinarily. That's what I have also been doing on LinkedIn. I mean, it's not something that's not known to people, that's not out there. It is there, but people, usually miss out on those things because they are quite busy with their own lives, own work, and their own stuff. So I'm just bringing out some perspectives that people might miss out on, but at the same time do feel excited to read on. So that's what my motto has been. And I never try to impress anyone, or rather gain attention on LinkedIn. People have been asking me that, do you use any tool to gather traction, or do you know any software? So I just tell them that even if I knew any of the softwares, I would never use it, because I don't believe in this inorganic acquisition of eyeballs. Rather, I would like for people to organically read my content and give me their opinions rather than buying comments, which is actually prevailing in today's market. I would
Yeah.
be wrong if I say that people don't do that. Some people actually do it, but I would never do it even if it's in front of me. So yeah, I always have been traveling the organic path, and going forward also I would like to do the same. So that's my journey in a nutshell, but happy to answer your specific questions if you may have in this.
Yeah. So, Radhika, follow-up question really.
Yeah.
So, in one of your posts, you had written that when you started in 2018, your first post got 3 likes,
Yeah.
right? And today you're the LinkedIn Next Gen voice. So, what happened in this journey from 3 likes to LinkedIn Next Gen? One is what we see on LinkedIn, but we're more interested in knowing your story. Like, how did you convert that? What happened to you in the process?
To me, it was just an infusion of knowledge that used to happen to me on a daily basis. I was just very excited to put it up. Like, even if I would be tired and it would be 10 or 11 in the night, I would make it a point to put up a post. And I think it's just my consistency and the quality content that I do on a daily basis that has got me here. Because I don't think so that I do something very different. I mean, there are superb content creators on LinkedIn. They write so much of good content, but they get less traction. So I've never judged anyone's content basis the traction that they get. And I'm also happy if I just get 100 or 200 likes a day. It's fine with me. I mean, I have seen my posts getting 2,000 to 3,000 likes, but it really doesn't take my motivation away if my post gets 100 likes, because I know that the journey that I went through for writing a particular post, that was so enriching and you know uh, insightful that I really don't regret writing it. And I'm sure the people who would want to read, they have they have read that, and they would approach me if they would want to chat more on the subject. So it's more of an it's more of a platform where I like to have intellectual conversations with people, because I'm also very young, and I've just completed my college, just have started working, and it's very new for me when I see people commenting on my posts or messaging me about a particular topic to write on. So it's a learning experience for me, I would say. And
Hmm.
it actually like I said, that I never had this motto of being a top voice. In fact, this is a brand new list that was launched this year, and I think because of that, I am here. Otherwise, I don't think so. I would have been in this list, the normal list, which usually features people who are investors or other or are accomplished in their lives also. So it's a long way for me, but this accomplishment, of course, is a good motivating factor for me. It's a good indicator for me that okay, people are liking my content, they look forward to it, and I also now have a sense of responsibility that even though I don't wish to write a piece of content on a day, I will have to, because people look forward to it, and I need to set the tone. I need to set the tone constant, even though I have achieved this particular achievement, because usually people feel that I have reached the destination, why should I take that effort? But I don't believe that you should just stop. You should keep going on and on, and that's how you'll also enjoy your life. Otherwise, that's the reason why people say that your journey is more interesting than the destination, because then you're left with nothing once you reach there. What do you look forward to? You have already accomplished it. So I never let that sense enter into that mind, and it's always a new day for me. I always think that I'm a new content creator on LinkedIn. I need to make a mark there, and that's what drives me every day too.
Hmm. So, what I'm hearing you say, Radhika, is that consistency is the key. You need to show up every single day on
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, of course. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't just be giving out quality content, but just once a month or twice a month. You need to be consistent with whatever you do, not just content, but whatever you do in life. You just need to be at it.
Doing it, yeah,
Yeah.
every day. Yeah, agree. So, Radhika, I'm sure there must be some fears along the way. We all have those fears, right? When we are on a journey.
Yeah.
So, what were your fears like?
My fears were that my initial fear was traction, of course, because I didn't see that coming,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the initial motivation for everybody is that go on the platform, right, and you'll see good audience reaction coming in. So even I had that mindset 2 years back, but of course it took me 2 years to change that mindset and eradicate that fear within me that it's not attraction that matters, but the work that you do that ultimately matters to you. And my fear apart from that is that it shouldn't happen, that I am putting in so much of efforts in putting up a content, and people just ignore it. I mean, I do care about traction, but it doesn't matter to me in a way that, I don't judge it basis the number of likes I get, but I do see the comments that I get. So I'm just fearful of the comments. That's
Yeah.
it. Because in today's day and age, you never know what one can comment.
Mhm. And have you got any nasty comments anytime? Just curious.
No, not nasty comments, but uh, counterintuitive comments are something
Mm.
that I have come across. But of course, those people also had their own perspectives. So I got to learn their side of view. So it's always a learning, I mean, but
Absolutely.
it's always a fear in the mind also that what will come next.
Yes. Yeah, and then I have also, like, when we interact with people around, a lot of them actually don't go on LinkedIn because people fear that, okay, what if I don't get any likes? Once you post,
Yeah,
your heartbeats actually go up a lot, because then you're thinking, okay, koi like karega, nahi karega, what will people say on this? Have I come across as too strong, or is this content enough? There are those questions that do come up in everybody's life.
right. Especially when I'm writing some content based on my
Hmm.
personal life or some personal
Yeah.
achievement, that's more fearful than me writing a news content.
Hmm.
So, because I don't really mind if I don't get traction on a news piece, because that was enriching for me. But when I write about my personal story and when I don't see people appreciating that, although that has never happened, fortunately, but I do fear that happening.
So, how do you deal with that?
Now, like I said, it has never happened to me, so I
Yeah.
didn't have a chance to deal with it. But of course, if it happens in future, I was I would just take it as a learning and never write about it again. That's the
In
only
fact,
solution.
yeah. In fact, in my experience with LinkedIn, I have never seen anybody making nasty comments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And when I've seen people making nasty comments, I've also seen other people trolling them.
Correct, correct.
So
People on LinkedIn are quite supportive. Even if they don't
supportive.
know
Yes.
you, they will come in
Yes.
full support to stand with
Yes. Yes. And especially, when there are, I won't say controversial, but when there are comments which are against what people think, or the popular comments, popular views, if you're writing anything against the popular view, that's when I think, there is this
you.
little chance
Yeah,
of controversy to come in. But for example, the way you write, about those stories, or sometimes when people write about their own personal experiences, I generally see that LinkedIn as a community is quite supportive.
right. I'm also fearful of the fact that I shouldn't be writing something in a wrong
Radhika, your
sense.
voice is fading a bit. So
Oh, am
it
I
is,
audible now?
you are audible, but the voice is quite faded. You may need to speak into your microphone.
Okay, is it better now?
This is much better. Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So I'm also fearful of the fact that I shouldn't ever perceive things in a wrong way, because it somebody has recently commented on one of my posts that why do you always write about success stories? Do also consider failure stories. There is so much to learn from it, and I have never thought about this side of the story. I've always written on successful posts, so that kind of fear is always in my mind, that I shouldn't be writing something that will hurt people, or why didn't I think of this particular topic in another purview. So
Yeah.
that's a small sense of fear that I have.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's such a beautiful platform to learn from other people. Like, for
Yeah,
example,
yeah,
you've been
indeed.
writing success stories, and then, somebody says that, okay, write about failure stories as well. And suddenly your mind opens up to a different perspective altogether.
Correct, correct. And I am considering writing on failure stories, so you will see
Wow.
that happening on my profile soon.
Yeah, beautiful. Awesome. So I'll just take a quick pause here and ask everybody around here to share what's coming up for you, or if you have any questions for Radhika, feel free to ask those questions now before I move to the next set of my questions. Yes, Rajvi. Rajvi, can you unmute yourself, please?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are now. Please go ahead.
Good evening to both of you. So to Radhika ma'am, I do follow her on LinkedIn. I just read the articles by her, and they are very insightful. So that one thing that I'm very curious about her articles is that what are her sources of information?
Okay, that's a really interesting question, Rajvi. Thank you for that. Not like I'm going to disclose all my sources, but of course, I will tell you my general sources, which is the normal news platforms that I refer to. And more than the sources, I'll actually tell you my process of how do I research so that you can understand that and customize it as per yourself so that you can also apply to your own self. So in morning every day, I open Business Standard and Economic Times website. I go through the news. Whichever news interests me, I dig deeper into that. I see the past news associated to that particular topic because I do a 360-degree analysis of a news. If you might have seen in my post, it's never just a news, but also the past and the future of that particular topic that I'm presenting on. And apart from the news, the business models that I write on also actually stems from the news I read. For example, if I've read about some company in the news, I will go about searching on that company. I'll see their history and I just, Google. I mean, Google is the best source of information. I don't, restrict myself to particular source. And I think that's what has kept my thinking also free, and that has led me to explore various other platforms also, like INC 42. Then there is this VC Circle, and you have Beale Street Asia, you have Debtwire, Mojo Market. So, all of these unique esoteric platforms help you understand what's going in the market. And once you pick up something from there, it's just Google and you can play around with Google as much as you want and dig deeper into the topic that you've chosen. So that's what even I do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to see a post from you, Rajvi, soon. Let me know
Sure.
once you post. I'll be happy to
Sure.
read it.
Do we have any other questions, guys? Feel free to ask.
Ram has raised his hand.
Yes, Ram, can you unmute yourself, please?
Good evening, both of you. Ram this
Hi.
side. First of all, guys, this idea of inviting 7 powerful women who are writing wonderfuls on LinkedIn and on each and every other platform. It's a really genuinely very decent idea and very wonderful idea.
Thank you.
And my question to Radhika is, I have been following her post since last 1.5 years, and I have mentioned that in DM also to her, and wanted to ask the kind of maturity the kind of maturity I see in her posts doesn't like tell me how young she is. Like once we had a discussion, so I just wanted to know from how many years or how many, but from how much time she's writing these posts and how she get this kind of maturity. Like when we see her posts, it look like someone who is having 10 to 15 years of experience is person who is writing these kinds of posts. So how much time she invests in these posts, and how do she manage with her job? Like she has a different job, and apart from that she's writing all these things. So how she's managing all these things?
So thank you so much, Ram, for your kind words. They mean a lot. Firstly, I believe that maturity has nothing got to do with age or experience. I would say that if you wait 10 years to reach a particular stage and then execute, it really doesn't make any sense. Rather, you invest those 10 hours that you have in your day to make the most out of it. You will have the same level of knowledge as a person in his or her 10th year of working experience. So in today's day and age, you have Google, and you can just search on any given topic. These people just have experience, those who are in the corporate industry or in any industry, but the knowledge, you can just beat them with any kind of knowledge in today's time, because it's just about your excitement level and the energy that you put into making something fruitful for your readers. So yeah, I think experience really matters, but on top of that, it's your drive that takes you places. And I think for me, I have really not cared about waiting for me to hit 25, 26, or even 30. I've just started without thinking about how will I do things, rather than thinking about how. I have understood that why will I do it, and when should I do it, and I've just started doing it.
Lovely.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Do we have any other questions? Please ask questions. That's how we all learn. Okay. So, I have a question here. So, how do you know what should you write on? Because there's so much happening in the world. How do
Yeah,
you decide?
sometimes even I do get confused with it, and those are the days when you'll see no post on my profile because I really don't know what to write on.
Hmm.
But I'm very excited when I see some acquisition happening in the news, because that's what excites me and the other people also who read the
Hmm.
posts. But apart from that, when I don't have any other content, I just go about searching for some brands. I see their brand histories. If something is really
Hmm.
interesting, then I write about that. And if I don't find anything in that also, I go typing brand facts or something unique facts that are not usually known. So I just keep on googling and googling, and at times it takes me 1 hour of Google research and just 10 minutes of writing a post. So it is a task at times, but yeah, it's not difficult once you get into it. But of course, in the initial months, you will definitely face difficulty in searching for a topic and then collecting your thoughts together and putting into a post. I used to take 2 3 hours usually in the start when I used to write, but now I finish it up like in just half an hour. So speed also requires a certain level of direction, and that direction takes time. So that's what my thought on this would be.
Uh, so, I am actually sensing two things over here. So, one is, what the audience want, and we write basis, where you think the audience would be interested, the content that they would be interested in. Two is, what do I like to write upon? Because if, say, for example, if I don't like history, any amount of research will not make me happy. Like, I would just do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
So how, if you were to advise, this audience that, okay, if somebody wants to start the journey from tomorrow on LinkedIn, how should they start?
Actually, you should definitely start with
Radhika,
writing
voice
your
is
life.
fading again.
Yeah, is it better?
This is better, yes.
Yeah, they should actually start writing on topics that they like first, because that fear, that barrier needs to be removed. That how will people perceive my writing, and that will only go away once they start writing. And once you write, you gain the confidence to write anything in the world. So that's a power of a writer. So they should just start with writing what they like I did in my case also. And once you see people responding to it, you will automatically start understanding that what kind of audience are you getting, what kind of likes are you getting, and where is your audience based out of. You definitely should study your analytics, in the sense that you have this option of viewing of how many viewers your post had, and from which location, which company, or which city are they from. You should study your audience first, and then you should study your topic accordingly.
Hmm.
uh, After that, you should just keep on experimenting with different other topics. I mean, I liked news, that's why I did that, not because initially my audience liked it. After that, I also like analyzing business models, so I did that too. But if suppose you like writing about yoga, you can write about different practices. Then you can also write about different pieces in Bhagavad Gita, and how do they correlate with your own practice or your own thinking style. So, just choose a particular niche area of your liking, and in that niche, create different stems and branches of whatever is available in that particular field. So, if suppose you love watching Netflix, you write about a particular series, that's fine. It's totally fine. People will love it if you come up with your own interpretation. After that, you should write about why do you like to watch a show on Netflix only, and why not on Amazon Prime. Always get into the business aspect of things, because LinkedIn is a commercial platform and people love to hear about your business perspectives. So you also need to keep in mind about the platform that you're writing on. It's not Instagram or Facebook that you'll just openly express your political thoughts or social thoughts, but it's a very business oriented platform. And keeping that in mind, you definitely should choose your niche. That's how you should streamline this whole process of writing. But don't think too much on it, because overthinking also disrupts your creativity, and creativity is an essential factor for you to write. So just free flow, just be water on LinkedIn. Just keep on writing, and you'll definitely find a path.
Wow. So what I'm hearing you say is that it's a good platform to express yourself. And when you have to express, you don't filter it. You just express authentically. You just express the way you think is appropriate for you.
Yes,
Of course,
because
yeah, sorry,
because
go ahead.
you will write for, say, suppose a month on topic that you don't like, but what will you do for a year then? Like I said, consistency is the key. You can't be consistent with things that you don't like. Hence, it's very essential to only write on the things you like, and that's what will make you consistent. So it's a very correlating factor.
Yeah, I think that's a big point, that first you need to know what are you passionate about, that you want to write on, that you want to express on, and therefore just be consistent with it. Every single day, every single week, just show up on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
the key. And also just don't just be restricted to writing your own posts, but also keep on commenting on other
Yeah,
people's posts also, because that's how people recognize you. It's a people's platform. You need to be in front of them for them to be able to know you. So it's a two-way street.
yeah. You give and you also take from people. You with your content, you're giving out your content to people, and you're also taking content from other people and sharing your own perspective on that.
Yes.
Lovely. So, when it uh, in this, LinkedIn is a networking platform eventually. So, what tips, what suggestions would you give out to all of us here in terms of networking, in terms of, how do you build your own personal brand on LinkedIn? How do you
Yeah.
network better? Yes.
For that to happen, you need to understand yourself first, since it's all about building your own personal brand. Whenever you market a product, also you study that product. After that, you customize it to your own market after finding what kind of market do you want to market that product in. Same applies to your personal brand also. Just think of yourself as suppose Colgate. How would you want to sell your own content? I mean, how would you identify a particular market for you? Just reach out to people consistently. Don't be shy as to what they will think of your message. I used to do that a couple of times, and that's how I caught the attention of some big people also, who now are happy to see my posts or happy to read my posts. So once they know me, they will definitely read my posts, and once they read it, they will spread it across in their circle because they know me. So building that personal connect is very important, and that doesn't come through the post itself. You need to connect with them personally, and once you do that, it's a very chain reaction kind of a thing that happens. I mean, if you know a person, that person will connect you some other person, and then you go via that person to some other person that you would wish to speak to. So yeah, it's just about taking that first step and identifying what kind of people do you want to network with. So first, identification of your personal self is very important before you go out there in the market and present yourself. Otherwise, what will happen that you don't know who your target audience is, who you want to speak to, and you're just going out there. People won't entertain that. People don't entertain other people without purpose, and that will break your own confidence, and you will never approach any other person. So taking that first step right is very important for you to network. Otherwise it just shatters your confidence and takes your whole efforts down the drain.
Hmm. So, when you spoke about the whole consistency and people recognizing you as a voice for something, how important it is to be consistent with your subject. So, for example, today I may choose to write on entrepreneurship. Tomorrow I read something, say in Bhagavad Gita, and I choose to write about Bhagavad Gita and my interpretation of that. Day after tomorrow, I write about some decision taken by some business, and I write about why that decision was good or why was it bad. Is that an okay approach?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Okay, so if I want to build my personal brand, do I need to
Yeah.
be consistent in my messaging, or can I choose to write about anything that catches my attention under the sun?
No, I mean, catching the attention should never be the motto. That's why I said that finding your purpose is the first step that you should do. And people love interacting with other people if you are speaking sense or adding some value in the conversation. So, you don't need to be consistent while building your network because it's something that comes naturally, and you don't have to make it forced or make it a rule that you need to network, because forced conversations never turn out into something meaningful.
Yes.
It's better to be natural, be yourself, and whenever you feel like, you can just message people. I mean, I don't hesitate messaging people at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. I mean, people do respond to it in the morning, and they are happy to have a conversation. So uh, don't look don't just be worried about what others will think, because I think that's the barrier that we all face and stop because of that particular thing.
I think one is the barrier of what others will think, and two is that self-created thing that somebody is already writing so well. My post will not be recognized in this space. That
Yeah.
comparison comes in. That so if I were to write about business from tomorrow, I might think that Radhika is writing so well. All the traffic is on her post. Nobody will come on my post to check out how I feel about the same subject. So sometimes that comparison also stops us from going out and expressing.
Yeah, but that comparison won't come into the picture when you are very sure of what you're doing. I mean, it's a social media at the end of the day. If your life in real sense, is full of people, uh, full of good work, you would really not care about the traction, because people in front of you, if they are respecting you, if they are listening to your views, you wouldn't really be. Uh, it won't matter to you if people on social media don't give a like on your post, because you know your own worth. The market knows your worth. Doesn't matter if the virtual environment is not responding to it. I mean, every environment has their own kind of a response, and you should be happy to accept that. I mean, accepting the fact that people on social media are not liking your post is another sense of maturity, and accepting the fact that you can do much more in your real world, in your real life, is another kind of a maturity that people should build in. Because once you're good in your real life, your people on social media will automatically follow you. So I've seen many people, you know, they are so good in their real life, and they were nothing before that. When they used to write posts, nobody really cared about it, but once they achieved something in their real life, people automatically started following them, started reading about what they write. So just focus on building your real world rather than the virtual world.
Yeah, and what I'm taking back is, really the essence of what you just said, that keep working on your own self and treat LinkedIn as an opportunity to express what you are doing without
Correct.
really worrying about, how others will perceive it or will others like it. Likes and comments is, like in the spiritual world, they say, something which is materialistic.
Yeah.
What's more important is how are you evolving as an individual on social media day after day, which means have you done that back end work enough? Have you done that work on your own self enough? Like you mentioned, the amount of research that you do, have you figured out your niche, that okay, what am I passionate about? And being able to say that okay, this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I'm going to be expressing my thoughts on. It's not even like writing a post, it's an expression of my thought.
Right.
So I think once that comes in, the whole process changes, the whole shift happens in the way we think about social media.
Correct. I mean, so many people just tend to get depressed seeing that I've put in so much of efforts and why is not anyone responding to it? I mean, how does it matter? I mean, at the end of the day, you are successful in your own life. That's what should matter to you. This virtual environment is really destroying some people, you know. It just takes away the confidence of some people, and that has happened to me also in the initial months when I was on the platform. But like I said, you really need to have good people around you. You need to be surrounded by smart people who guide you the way, who tell you that this is not the right thought that you are entering into. You need to focus on the positives, and it's just about living life beautifully. I mean, how does it matter? This 10,000 or 100 likes, they won't even matter after some years. What would matter is that what kind of impact you've had on people's life. And you can't just make an impact from social media. Of course, some people do that, but of course there are so many other options. If you fail at one, you can try out something other. Why you're stopping yourself just because you've faced one failure?
Yeah, that's lovely, beautiful, Radhika. Okay, time for questions, guys. Anything that you want to ask, Radhika?
I think they are quite inspired now. They are just planning their next post. They are all ready to write on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We can move forward, I
Hello,
think.
Meenu ma'am. Good
Yeah,
evening.
hi,
Yeah,
Sneha.
Sneha.
Yes.
Hello. Hi Radhika, thank you so much for sharing the insights, how you started, and it is very inspirational definitely for each one of us. I would just like to ask you on your personal comment that how do you approach people and how do we specifically build our professional network, like how to approach for connections. So what is your thought about it?
So never approach somebody for connection. I mean, you definitely should approach, but you should know why are you approaching that person. You should know the background to it. You shouldn't just be inclined towards increasing your followers and your connections, because I know where is this idea coming from. Even I had it at some point in time that if you increase your connections, you increase your followers also, because it's directly proportional. But you really should, if you need to connect with a person, you should know that why do I need.
Yeah, your voice is fading again.
Okay, is it better now?
This is better. Yes.
Yeah. So I was saying that you need to know the purpose behind it, and once you achieve that, your connection request will definitely be accepted. In my case, also, when I write to them uh, personally, they appreciate it and they respond back. Some people don't, but it's fine. The world is huge. If one person doesn't, you can definitely jump to the other one. You have no restrictions on that. But of course, you have this in-mail option also, wherein you write a personalized message to them, saying that why do you want to connect with them? What is it that they will get after adding you in their connection list? Because some CEOs or CXO level people think very lean in this. They just have the connection. I mean, we all have this connection limit of just 30,000 connections, and that's why they are very picky and choosy when it comes to accepting requests. So you need to think from the other side's perspective also, that why should they accept your connection request. So if you give them a reason which is valid enough, of course they will, and that has happened in my case also.
Okay, thank you, Radhika. Actually, the aspect behind asking this question was, apart from building or growing in numbers with the, it was not like in numbers to the connections, but it was like, building potential network which we can use for our professional growth further.
Right. So of course, LinkedIn is actually a really great platform for this, because it gives you the option of filtering out on people that you want to connect with. So suppose I wish to connect with the CEO of Edelweiss, I'll just type out the company name and I'll just filter it out, and I'll get some big names that I wish to connect with. And once they accept my connection request, I automatically write to them that thanks for accepting my request. This is the reason why I wish to connect with you. Can we have a conversation uh, for the same? So they do appreciate the fact that you're looking forward to connect with them. And I also have this one tool which you all can use. That's Lusha. If you really want to get in touch with a person and that's not accessible on LinkedIn, you can have their contact number or email ID from Lusha. You can extract that. It's a Google web browser,
What's
and
the
with,
name? Can you put it on
yeah,
the
it's
chat?
Lusha, Lusha.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Usha.
Lusha. Lusha. Okay.
Yeah, so you can use that, Sneha, whenever you wish to connect with people to grow your network. I mean, individual connect, personalized connect is always better than just a connect on LinkedIn. So yeah, just connect with them, have their email IDs, have their phone numbers from this
Sure.
software.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that one tip is, really, really helpful. That when you're connecting with someone, give them a reason why you want to connect with them. Especially, when you're connecting with people who are very senior in their, positions, etc., because they're quite choosy about who they want in their network. Um, Another thing which I followed long time ago, when I was young and when I just started using LinkedIn, was to follow people who I wanted to know more about. So, say for example, Radhika, I want to see what Radhika is writing. So instead of sending a connection request, I would just follow her, because as soon as I follow her, then her post will start appearing in my news feed. And once I'm sure about, why do I want to connect with her, only then I would send a connection request. And it's I also appreciate when people write to me with the connection request saying that I'm reaching out to you because I have this product and you may find it interesting. That's okay. Somebody is selling it to me, but at least they took that time to tell me why they want to connect with me.
Yeah, correct. Same as in my case also. Like if somebody has written a beautiful note to me, I'll just not see his or her credentials, just accept the request because the time that they have put into write even those
Yeah,
three
yeah,
words,
true,
it's very valuable.
true, true. And then it's also about you choosing your network carefully. You're not like, just uh, how do I put it? You're just not firing arrows in the air. You're not just kind of just sending connection requests to build your own network. It's okay. I may have only 3,000 people, but I cherish those 3,000 people. I would love to talk to them. I would love to see what is it that they're writing. So when you're writing to somebody saying, this is why I want to connect with you, it's also to say that, okay, I cherish my own network as well. And therefore, I'm choosing to connect with you.
Yeah, and like whenever you take decisions based on empathy, you will always have a win because you will always be thinking from the other person's perspective. You will think as if, as if you were them, and then uh, taking a taking an action. So it's always good to see the other story before gathering your thoughts.
Great. Any more questions before we wrap this session up? I don't have any other questions. So I'm like, you guys can ask her questions before we wrap it. Okay, so since we don't have any questions, Radhika now, and some of you are connected to her on LinkedIn. Some of you would like to connect with her after this session. So if there's anything that you think she can help you with, feel free to write to her on LinkedIn and take it ahead from there. So Radhika, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for that um, honest conversation. Sharing with
Yeah.
us your vulnerabilities, your fears, your successes, and that's how I think we all learn from each other when we are just true to what we are saying, just when we are just being authentic. So thank you once again for being authentic on this platform.
No, thank you so much for having me. And I'm actually very
Yes.
excited to see all of these names on LinkedIn now. I will
Wow.
definitely check out if they are writing some posts or no, because I think I have inspired them to at least just start writing, if not anything else. So, guys, please do keep on writing. It really enhances your knowledge and broadens your horizon of thinking in general. It actually helps you increase your general smartness, and that is what takes you places in life. So just keep on writing, not only on LinkedIn but on any platform that you would love to. So yeah, and keep on doing what you love. That's the only motto of life. Don't come under any pressure or any influence, because today's world is very corrupted. It's good to have a protective shell for yourself, but at the same time remain natural and real and not be pretentious.
That was real wisdom, Radhika. Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, thanks, Minu.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. And good night. And, till yesterday, I used to tell everybody, I'll see you tomorrow. But this is the final session of the series, Yugma series, where we spoke to 5 super powerful women on different aspects of life, career, transformation, and finally, how do you actually choose to challenge things around you? So, for those who were with us in session 1, thank you so much. Really appreciate the fact that you showed up every single day. And I think that consistency is what really matters. And for those who came in today, you can check out all the past videos on our YouTube channel, Vans Skilling, VANS Skilling and Advisories, the YouTube channel. So feel free to go there and check out all the earlier sessions that we had with some other women and some lovely women rather. who were here with us during this particular series. So thank you once again, and keep in touch. If there's anything that Yugma can do for you, do let us know. Reach out to me, reach out to my colleague Devesh, who's also here in this session, and we will do our best to speak to you, talk to you, and take this ahead.